Over the course of his illustrious career, Sami Zayn has competed against the best talent in the industry and put on stellar performances all over the globe. Sami Zayn is one of the most interesting characters in all of professional wrestling and seems to enter a new level each time we see him both in and out of the ring. I am the Wrestling Guy and welcome to episode 3 of The Rise, the series where we have a look at the career of a WWE superstar both in and out of the ring. Thank you for joining me for another episode here on the channel. Today we have a look at one of the most popular wrestlers in wrestling today, Sami Zayn. Chapter 1. International Wrestling Syndicate. Sami Zayn, whose real name is Ramy Sabeh, made his professional wrestling debut in March 2002 for the FLQ promotion in Quebec as Stevie McFly. On the 14th of July 2002 as El Generico, he made his International Wrestling Syndicate debut at the Scarred for Life event in a count-out victory. IWS held its 5th anniversary show in 2004, where Generico defeated PCO in an IWS title match for his first IWS World Heavyweight Championship, only to have Kevin Steen, aka Kevin Owens, reclaim his #1 contendership, which he won earlier in the night against Excess 69. Generico would lose to Steen for the IWS World Heavyweight Championship, and on the September 11th episode of High Stakes 2, Generico, Steen and Excess 69 lost to Sexay Eddie in an IWS 4-way match, which was unofficially chosen as the CZW Match of the Year. Chapter 2. Ring of Honor. El Generico first wrestled for Ring of Honor in 2005, earning a spot in a 4-corner survival match at Do or Die 4. He teamed with the Ring Crew Express, Dunn and Marcus, in the Trios tournament, losing to the Rottweilers. He only received a few more matches, losing to Austin Aries at Fate of an Angel and getting his first win against Kevin Steen at the Homecoming, a match which didn't even make it onto the event's DVD. His final Ring of Honor match of the run was a loss to Homicide at Dragon Gate Invasion. Generico returned to Ring of Honor in late 2006, making an appearance at Dethroned, where he was defeated by Brent Albright. Following this, he took part in and lost a 4-corner survival match to Jimmy Rave at Final Battle 2006. In 2007, El Generico formed a permanent team with Kevin Steen, taking on the Briscoe brothers at the 5th Year Festival of Philly. Much like many previous matches, they were defeated in this encounter, but the two men had a memorable showing that eventually earned them a full-time spot on the roster. Also during this time, Generico broke out as a singles competitor, having a strong run in the Race to the Top tournament of 2007. On June 26th at Best in the World 2011, Generico defeated Christopher Daniels to win the ROH World Television Championship. He would then go on to lose the title to Jay Lethal in August at the first Ring of Honor wrestling tapings under the Sinclair Broadcast Group banner. On March 30th, 2012, at Showdown in the Sun, El Generico faced the reinstated Kevin Steen in a losing effort in a last man standing match, and then disappeared from Ring of Honor. After Steen successfully defended the Ring of Honor World Championship at Glory by Honor 11, The Unbreakable Hope, he received a parcel containing Generico's mask. El Generico would return to Ring of Honor at Final Battle 2012 Doomsday, where he unsuccessfully challenged Steen for the Ring of Honor World Championship in a ladder war. This was his last appearance with Ring of Honor before signing with WWE. Chapter 3. NXT Champion. On February 13th, Zayn made his debut for WWE's developmental territory, NXT, but didn't wrestle. His NXT in-ring debut took place at a live event on March 7th in Tampa, Florida, wrestling a tag team match unmasked. Sabeh eventually settled on his new ring name, Sami Zayn. Zayn made his televised debut on May 22nd's episode of NXT, first defeating Kurt Hawkins in the opening match, and then challenging and scoring an upset over Antonio Cesaro later in the show. The following week he took part in an 18-man battle royal to determine the #1 contender to the NXT Championship, but unfortunately he was eliminated by Mason Ryan. On the 12th of June's episode of NXT, Zayn suffered his first pinfall loss in a rematch with Cesaro. On the 31st of July's episode of NXT, Zayn teamed with NXT champion Bo Dallas against Cesaro and Kruger. After Cesaro and Zayn brawled to the backs, Dallas lost the match and later blamed Zayn for the loss. This would then lead to Zayn losing to Cesaro in a 2-out-3 falls match, which would end up concluding their feud. When Zayn targeted Dallas' NXT Championship, Dallas cost Zayn his match against Cesaro's fellow Real American Jack Swagger. Dallas held an open challenge to determine the next title contender, but banned Zayn from competing. However, Zayn masqueraded as the masked El Local and defeated Dallas to earn his title shot. The match occurred on the October 16th episode of NXT, but NXT General Manager JBL restarted the match when Zayn won despite Dallas' foot being on the ropes. Dallas would then send Zayn into an exposed turnbuckle to retain his title. In November 2013, after tying a Beat the Clock challenge with Adrian Neville, Zayn lost a number 1 contenders match to Neville on the November 27th episode of NXT. Zayn moved on to feud with Kruger, and the feud culminated in Zayn winning a 2 out of 3 falls match on the January 1st episode of NXT. Zayn then feuded with Corey Graves, with Sami Zayn losing to Graves via referee stoppage on the April 3rd episode of NXT, after Graves capitalised on Zayn's head injury. On the May 8th episode of NXT, Zayn participated in a 20-man battle royal for an NXT Championship shot, with Zayn being involved in a triple threat match tie. As a result, Zayn faced the other 2 winners, Tyler Breeze and Tyson Kidd, in a triple threat match on the next episode of NXT, where Kidd would end up winning to become number 1 contender. At NXT TakeOver on May 29th, Zayn lost to Breeze in another number 1 contenders match. In June 2014, Zayn went on to feud with Tyson Kidd after Kidd abandoning him during the match against the NXT Tag Team Champions The Ascension. Zayn later defeated Kidd twice to end the feud, once in a singles match and then again in a tag match with Adam Rose against Gabriel and Kidd, which was the first round of a tournament for an opportunity at the NXT Tag Team Championships. Zayn and Rose lost in the second round to the Lucha Dragons. When Zayn, Kidd and Tyler Breeze each staked a claim for an NXT Championship match, Champion Neville agreed to face all 3 in a fatal 4-way match at the next NXT TakeOver event. To hype that match, Zayn and Neville appeared on the September 8th episode of Raw, defeating Tyler Breeze and Tyson Kidd while making their main roster debuts. At NXT TakeOver Fatal 4-Way, Zayn nearly won the 4-way match and the NXT Championship, but Champion Neville stopped him by dragging the referee out of the ring as he went on to win and retain his title. This caused tension with Neville and Zayn's friendship. Zayn was rewarded with a title match against Neville on the next episode of NXT, in which Neville appeared to injure himself during the match, but he took advantage on Zayn checking on him to win the match and retain the title. Neville agreed to Zayn's request for a title rematch, with Zayn vowing to quit NXT if he lost. At NXT TakeOver Revolution, Zayn defeated Neville to win the NXT Championship and was congratulated by many other NXT wrestlers, including Neville and Kevin Owens. The show ended with Owens powerbombing Zayn onto the ring apron to ruin their reunion. Zayn retained the title against Neville in a rematch on the next episode of NXT, but suffered another post-match attack by Owens. After an irate Zayn demanded a match against Owens, even if it meant putting the title on the line, a title match was set for NXT TakeOver Rival. At the event, Owens captured the title from Zayn via referee stoppage, having powerbombed a disorientated Zayn 5 times, ending his reign at 62 days. Chapter 4. Feud with Kevin Owens. On the May 4th episode of Raw, Zayn was introduced by Bret Hart as John Cena's opponent for his weekly US Open Challenge for his United States Championship taking place in his hometown of Montreal. Zayn was heavily favoured by the crowd over Cena but ultimately lost the match. After the match, Cena let Zayn have the ring to an outstanding ovation from a live crowd following the match. At NXT TakeOver Unstoppable, Zayn's NXT Championship rematch against Kevin Owens ended in a no contest when Zayn was unable to continue the match. Owens continued assaulting Zayn until the debuting Samoa Joe made the save. After a 7-month hiatus, Zayn returned from an injury on an episode of NXT in December and defeated Ty Dillinger. Zayn was defeated by Shinsuke Nakamura in the debut match at NXT TakeOver Dallas on the 1st of April, after which both were given a standing ovation, and while Nakamura left the ring, he was left waving goodbye to the NXT fans, signalling his final appearance in NXT. At the Royal Rumble in 2016, Zayn competed in the match, coming in at number 20, eliminating Kevin Owens before then being eliminated by Braun Strowman. On the March 7th episode of Raw, Zayn made a surprise appearance to the main roster and attacked Owens, who was attempting to attack Neville after their match. This led to a tag team match on SmackDown in which Zayn and Neville defeated Owens and The Miz. At WrestleMania 32, Zayn competed against Owens, Dolph Ziggler, The Miz, Stardust, Sin Cara and Zack Ryder in a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship, which was won by Ryder. On the 4th of April's episode of Raw, Zayn was scheduled to compete in a fatal four-way match against Owens, AJ Styles and Chris Jericho to determine the number one contender for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, but was attacked by Owens, who attacked him with a powerbomb through a table backstage and were replaced by a returning Cesaro. Because of the actions of Owens, Shane McMahon gave Zayn another opportunity on the next episode of Raw to become a number one contender by having him face AJ Styles, who had won the contenders match the week before, but Zayn lost to Styles. On the May 23rd episode of Raw, Zayn defeated Sheamus to qualify for the Money in the Bank ladder match, but at the event on June 19th he was unsuccessful as the briefcase was won by Dean Ambrose. In the 2016 draft, Zayn was drafted to Raw. At Battleground on July 24, Zayn defeated Kevin Owens. On the next episode of SmackDown Live, Intercontinental Champion Dolph Ziggler made an open challenge to any wrestler from the Raw brand. The following week, Zayn stated that Mick Foley wanted him to face Ziggler, but Commissioner Stephanie McMahon, who preferred Rusev, made Zayn face Rusev, with the winner going on to face Ziggler for the title. Zayn would defeat Rusev to earn the title match. Zayn was later announced as one of the participants in the Money in the Bank ladder match at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view on the 18th of June, along with AJ Styles, Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, Kevin Owens and Shinsuke Nakamura. Unfortunately though, he was again unsuccessful in winning the briefcase. Chapter 5 Intercontinental Champion. On the August 20th episode of SmackDown Live, Zayn joined forces with Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura after attacking The Miz. Zayn was positioned as Nakamura's mouthpiece, and at Clash of Champions on September 15th, he helped Nakamura retain the title. At Survivor Series in 2019, following the draft to SmackDown, he would also become the manager of Cesaro. And at Survivor Series, Zayn accompanied Nakamura in a non-title match against the United States Champion AJ Styles and the North American Champion Roderick Strong, which would end up being won by Strong. On the January 31st episode of SmackDown, Nakamura lost the title to Braun Strowman despite interferences from Zayn and Cesaro. At the Elimination Chamber, Nakamura, Cesaro and Zayn defeated Braun Strowman in a 3-on-1 handicap match to win the IC title. Zayn won the title by pinning Strowman. On the March 13th episode of SmackDown, Zayn began a feud with Daniel Bryan, during which Bryan and Drew Gulak faced Zayn's Artist Collective partners Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro in various matches. On the first night of WrestleMania 36, Zayn defeated Bryan to retain the title. On the May 12th, he was stripped of the championship after refraining from competing during the COVID-19 pandemic, ending his reign at 65 days. On the August 28th episode of SmackDown, Zayn attacked Intercontinental Champion Jeff Hardy and declared himself the real Intercontinental Champion, eventually reuniting with Cesaro and Nakamura. At Clash of Champions, Zayn defeated Hardy and AJ Styles in a triple threat match to reclaim the IC title by handcuffing both of them to the ladders. At Survivor Series, Zayn lost to the United States Champion Bobby Lashley in a champion versus champion match. However, on the 25th of December's episode of SmackDown, he would then go on to also lose his title in his second reign at 89 days. He would lose the title to Big E. At the event, Zayn was the second man eliminated by Kevin Owens. His gimmick would be tweaked into a deranged conspiracy theorist who believed that WWE bosses were holding him down, and he soon reignited his feud with Owens. Zayn lost to Owens on the second night of WrestleMania 37, but defeated him in a rematch at Hell in a Cell. On November the 6th, Zayn was announced as part of Team SmackDown at Survivor Series. However, on the November 12th episode of SmackDown, Zayn faced Jeff Hardy in a match with a stipulation that whoever lost was removed from the SmackDown Survivor Series team, which Zayn lost, thus removing him. On the November 26th episode of SmackDown, Zayn would compete in a Battle Royal to determine the number one contender for the championship, by eliminating Jeff Hardy to win the match. On the December 3rd episode of SmackDown, Zayn would face the champion Roman Reigns for the title, but lost in 15 seconds due to Brock Lesnar attacking him before the match. In 2022's episode of SmackDown in January, Zayn entered a feud with Johnny Knoxville, after Knoxville announced he would be entering the Royal Rumble match. On the February 18th taped episode of SmackDown, Zayn defeated Nakamura to win the IC title for the third time in his career. And on March 4th episode of SmackDown, Zayn would lose the title again to Ricochet after interference from Johnny Knoxville. This would end his reign at just 21 days. Zayn then challenged Knoxville to a match at WrestleMania 38, which was made official shortly after the following week. Zayn failed to regain the title against Ricochet in his rematch, and on the episode of SmackDown on March 18th, Zayn added an anything goes stipulation to their match, and Knoxville accepted the challenge. On the second night of WrestleMania 38, Zayn would lose to Knoxville after the Jackass co-actors interfered in the match. Match at 6. The Bloodline. Having felt as he had lost respect and credibility in the locker room, Zayn sought to seek favour with the Bloodline, the stable that was led by Roman Reigns. On the May 27th episode of SmackDown, after helping the group on a couple of occasions, Zayn was deemed an honorary Uce and became an associate with the group. On the June 24th episode of SmackDown, Zayn defeated Shinsuke Nakamura to qualify for the Money in the Bank ladder match. At the event, Zayn failed to win as the match was won by Austin Theory. On the August 19th episode of SmackDown, he competed in a fatal 5-way match to determine the number one contender for the IC title, which was won by Sheamus. In the following weeks, the tensions between Zayn and Jey Uso, another member of the Bloodline, escalated as Jey did not trust Zayn and they constantly argued. On the September 23rd episode of SmackDown, Reigns declared Zayn an official honorary Uce. At Survivor Series War Games, Zayn, along with the Bloodline, defeated the team of Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens and the Brawling Brutes in a War Games match. After the match, due to Zayn showing his loyalty to the stable by delivering a low blow to Kevin Owens, Jey finally accepted Zayn as part of the Bloodline and the stable celebrated. In January 2023, Zayn would be in conflict with the Bloodline, which led to a tribal court for Zayn at the special edition of Rule 30, but would be found not guilty for now in regards to betraying the Bloodline. At the Royal Rumble, Reigns proceeded to have the rest of the Bloodline beat Owens down following the match, but Zayn refused to join their beatdown and eventually hit Reigns with the chair, leading to the entire Bloodline, excluding Jey, attacking Zayn, turning him face for the first time since 2017. On the February 3rd episode of SmackDown, Zayn attacked Reigns and challenged him to a match for the undisputed Universal Championship at Elimination Chamber, which Reigns would accept. At the moment, Sami Zayn is one of the top competitors in the whole of WWE and is easily a contender to be the next undisputed champion. He is an exciting talent that is able to bring his own unique style to his wrestling, and the fans love it every single time. Zayn's wrestling career so far has been top tier, with one of the few things eluding him in becoming the WWE champion. Let's see what Zayn has in store for us going forward. If you have enjoyed this Rise video and would like to see more videos like this here on the channel, make sure subscribing and turning on the notification bell. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.